Welcome back to the channel. My name is Trevon. This is Moving to Texas. I am a real estate agent with Century 21 Mike Bowman, #1 Century 21 office in the state of Texas. So not here to play any games. I got a few videos to react, some information about the DFW Metroplex, and then some other broader topics as far as real estate. But let's get right into it. I'm just going to give you my perspective. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and especially if you're feeling the vibe. All right, let's get into it.
The top market in the country for real estate investment and development next year. It's a ranking that experts say matters whether you are looking to buy a home or even invest in real estate. NBC5's David Goins.
Yeah, I had to stop it quick because not just investment, commercial property. We're about to outpace New York in 2025 and 2026, I believe, for apartment complexes. Maybe not 2026, not confirmed, but 2025. That is the projected plan. Don't forget the DFW airport expansion, $2 billion expansion. That airport is literally going to be bigger than some cities. Okay, don't forget about development north of Collin County. And so much more development as far as just all the types of massive infrastructure projects that are coming to the DFW Metroplex.
Has this update.
What's the best way to describe the seemingly continuous run of high-rise developments in Dallas and Fort Worth, combined with home building in all directions?
You know, I think what it says is that you're in a marketplace where opportunities exist.
It's an image confirmed in new ranking that pegs DFW as the place to buy, build, and finance property in 2025. Tamala Thornton heads up the Dallas-Fort Worth Council for the Urban Land Institute, which publishes the annual forecast with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
I think it actually relates to everyone across the spectrum, whether you're just a resident of Dallas or if you're in business.
North Texas continues to be lifted by.
Right, like this isn't really something you truly want to ignore. Just this is what is coming to the area. If you're someone who's thought about buying, if you maybe are someone who wants to sell, it's not necessarily the best time to sell to get the highest dollar, but it is nowhere. But it still is a decent time to sell, especially if you've bought within the last 5 years. You probably have a decent amount of equity built into the home you're living in. Now, where the kicker is where will you move? That is a different conversation, not based on price and what you can get, but mortgage rates or interest rates. That is the real catalyst, I feel. But overall, I do think things will slowly start to increase as more of this development gets put into place because, how large money works. They know where to move the assets and they do it.
The fourth fastest employment growth in the country, combined with the fourth largest concentration of Fortune 500 companies. The report finds the region's real estate success extends across multiple counties.
I think what you're seeing is in the Denton, Collins, and more of the suburban areas, you're seeing the activity from more of your larger developers or institutional developers who are looking at very large scale projects.
Challenges exist too.
Yeah, Denton, Collin County, they are building. I mean, I know at one point in Denton, 25% of the homes that were sold and bought were only new construction, which is insane, really, when you think about it.
Dallas's median home prices have jumped by more than 1/3 coming out of the pandemic, something many observers say needs to level off to keep growth strong. Still, Dallas as a region, beating out other Sunbelt cities like Nashville, Houston, and Miami, as a place of opportunity for home buyers, builders, and investors.
A #1 ranking says that this is a market that's attractive to new thinking, to innovation, and to new opportunities. And that should be attractive to anyone across the economic spectrum.
David Goins, NBC5.
Yeah, overall, I would say there's just a lot of opportunity. You know what I mean? If you have questions about a specific area, shoot me a call or shoot me a text, and I can definitely run some numbers for you. Maybe if you're an investor, or even if you're a first-time home buyer, there's still, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, there's a lot of opportunity out there, okay? And what I'll say is, what I kind of tell myself, I just feel like if you are looking to do this just for asset growth and all that. That's not really the right idea. But if you are going to live in this area for the next 10, 15 years and you can afford to buy a home, it might benefit you depending on where you buy, just given the time for asset growth, right? There's many people who think just owning a home is investing in that. That's not the case, but we saw what happened in 2020, and you can't ignore the obvious. Many people doubled their equity value and walked away with a pretty penny, right? Maybe they didn't double their home, but making $100,000 in a few years off real estate is unheard of. So if it ever comes to that again, having a home, owning a home might be the most valuable thing you can have.
Red flag you need to know before you buy an investment property. Trees are the biggest deal right here when you actually are buying real estate investment property. We have a student springboard program.
Yeah, 100%. Trees will stop a deal depending on what's going on, right? Because you can have, basically, if the tree is growing near the house, it's most likely growing underneath the house. What's underneath the house? Piping, your foundation, structural things. So these are things you want to look out. And not only that, let's say you are trying to buy sight unseen. You're like, how is this property so affordable? Comes to find out, it's got protected trees on the lot, covered in trees. You really can't do anything with the lot. So things you want to look out for, especially if you're buying on sight unseen. And then if you are at the property, you're just buying your own home. Yeah, you want to double check that there are no trees right next to it. If there are, it's not the end of the deal. Just get a sewer scope, get somebody to check the foundation, and see where you're at. Try to ask as many questions as you possibly can.
And he bought a property recently, and he didn't see the big old tree on the side of the property. And that's where he was going to actually put an ADU on the side of the property. Come to find out, after we look at the property, I said, dude, did you not see the tree? How you going to put an ADU where the tree's at? He didn't even realize it. And the architect who's actually drawing it didn't even realize it. He said, oh, we can just build around it. I'm thinking, you're going to build around a tree? Are you crazy? That thing's going to look ugly. I had to save him, you guys, actually not buying this deal. So if he would have bought that property and he couldn't put an ADU, he would have easily lost out probably a couple $100,000.
DFW had the upper.
Yeah, especially if those trees are protected, that really would put you in a predicament, because just to get the home, you got to spend a little bit of cash, right? To get it under contract, to do certain inspections and whatnot. So definitely do your research. If you were looking to buy, sell, don't hesitate to reach out, man. Check the description. It'll have my contact information, okay?
Probably a couple $100,000.
DFW had the upper hand in the market, but the tides have changed in recent months, according to a new report. Nick Wooten, real estate reporter at the Dallas Morning News, has been looking over this new data. Nick, first, I'm glad you're with us. Tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, so we've seen a jump in active home listing and months of housing inventory.
Yeah, housing inventory is definitely, I don't know if it's the most ever, but basically 2 years ago, a year ago, there was only 2.5 months of supply, three months of supply. Now there's 4.1 months of supply. Basically just showing you more homes than we've ever had on the market than most can remember. I guess not that most can remember in the last 5-6 years. And I think that's not just because of high values, but also interest rates. And we'll get into that a little more.
Have hit their highest levels in North Texas in over a decade. This buildup in inventory has led real estate company Zillow to label Dallas's home market as neutral. Now, it's been neutral for a few months, and this is the most favorable ranking for buyers since Zillow began tracking in January 2018.
Wow. Okay, it's always been a seller's market for quite some time. This is good news for buyers, right, Nick?
Well, not so fast.
Okay.
Buyers are still dealing with those elevated mortgage rates, and now those have come down in recent weeks. Freddie Mac has the average 30-year rate around 6.69%. That's the lowest level in well over a month, but it's still well above where they were in mid-September, despite the Federal Reserve cutting short-term interest rates.
Okay, so with this new data, I know you've gone through it. What should we expect now in the house?
Which, if you're someone waiting for the interest rates to drop, I really would try to think about this a little differently. the last 2 times they've made cuts, rates have gone up. I don't know how it works. I'm not someone that works for the Fed, but I know that when rates drop, there will be more buyers. I mean, maybe not the same day or that same month, but there will be more buyers that go into the market thinking that it is easier. Now, it'll be easier for you to get more bang for your buck as far as I can buy a $400,000 home instead of this $325,000 home. But it will increase your chances of having competition, therefore more people to be able to bid on said home, therefore said home going quicker and for a lot more. I'm not saying it's going to be anything like 2020, but you're seeing this happen, right? You're seeing homes go in days 25,000 over asking if they're really nice in a great location where everybody wants to be and priced well. So it just depends on how you're looking at it, but overall, optimistic about the market, 100%.
Housing market going forward, Nick?
October was a really mixed bag. Median home prices in DFW were up over last October. Sales increased too. The November data is going to be out soon, and we'll have a better sense of the picture. Experts that I spoke to are still hopeful that 2025, the summer selling season, will be better than this past year. There have been concerns about proposed tariffs and other economic policies under a new White House that might increase inflation. That's a factor in why mortgage rates went up recently like they did. However, a lot of these experts think the new administration will work to ease those concerns. There are more proposed interest rate cuts in 2025, and there's a hope that this time around, mortgage rates will move down with them.
Why is there still an affordability crisis in this country?
Again, yeah, hopefully that's the case, that rates go down a little bit more, make it a little more affordable for people to buy. But then again, there is a lot of opportunity right now as far as sellers willing to pay all your closing costs and come down on the purchase price, even if it's not on the market more than 5 days. I mean, yeah, a lot of opportunity out there.
Why is there still an affordability crisis in this country?
There is a lack of housing that is so intense in this country. We're probably about 4.5 million homes short of a healthy market right now. And the challenge is, we all know that we need more housing inventory, particularly affordable housing.
So this is definitely going to be a broad conversation of the overall market, because we just saw some of the stats in our area. We're starting to crank up. We're still under the amount of housing we need, right? We're still short on housing, but they're adding it, right? They're definitely adding it. It's not slowing down. I didn't have a stat, but so many companies are coming to the DFW Metroplex, and what does that bring? Population.
Every time anybody tries to do a housing project, people show up in droves and protest it and say they don't want it in their backyard. No way, this is going to be a problem. The other solution is going to be public properties that are not being used, and there are thousands and thousands of them in every city.
Yeah, we're working with regional and state levels to try and figure out how we can be a part of offsetting that housing crisis by utilizing some of their property and our technology, this modular panelized systems, and other technology. And a big part of the solution will be people building a second or even a third. Even in California, you can have a junior ADU and an ADU, but having multiple units that you can rent out. And we're not talking about short-term like Airbnb. We're talking about long-term rentals for families.
Now, I don't necessarily see it being that drastic where we live, like I said earlier, but you still can consider what he's saying, right? You can add value to your property in more than a few ways, especially if your lot is big enough. And you are seeing it. You are seeing more homes, convert the pool room into an ADU, add a shed in the back, renovate that shed, and use it as usable square footage. I mean, more and more. And I think what also people are not taking into account is how many people are or how many people are like, basically they're older. I don't want to say they're too old, but they're going to have to downsize here in the next 4 to 5 years, and there's a ton of these. So there's just going to be more and more inventory, I think. But we shall see, right? That's a while away. What they're saying is not incorrect, especially in certain areas like that where you really have to bring value. I mean, average price for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom in California, I think it's like $750,000, like basic. So I don't know if that's spot on, but there are more ways to bring value to your home. Maybe look into having a larger lot. Maybe think about converting a shed into a livable space. Many opportunities out there, and I think that's not a bad idea as far as trying to get some rental income, long-term rental income, because I'm sure there's many people that will pay a decent amount to live in like a 500 square foot, 200 square foot little studio, paying $600, $700, rather than paying $1,500 to $1,200 at an apartment where they don't have much freedom or no backyard. But it all depends, right? All depends. At the end of this, it's really just to gain perspective. That's what real estate's really all about. No matter what market you're in, ask the right questions. Try to get someone who's experienced not only in real estate, but can communicate with you as well and has a few plans to go about it, because there are a few plans depending on what the situation is. Like I've been kind of telling all my clients, this isn't time to feel like there's FOMO, but there's a lot of opportunity as far as sellers who are sitting on a lot of equity, who are ready to kind of change their life, ready to get on to the next phase, and they have a lot of leeway. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. If you're feeling the vibe, please subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. And if you have any questions or want to give me a call, schedule a call, check the description. You'll have my contact information down below. Again, my name's Trevon. I work with Century 21 and Mike Bowman. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. You guys have a blessed week, and I'll catch you guys next time on Moving to Texas. All right, later.